Very good.
I'm also going to turn on the live transcript so that people can read subtitles. There.
Okay.
Now we should have subtitles, I think.
And I also would like to share when you're ready, team. If you are signed to me.
Oh, yes, I need to let you share.
Yeah.
Is there an option to just let everyone share?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now anybody can share.
Everybody. So, can you see the slide project meeting?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Now I have to move down. Okay, I will use this. So, the first day, today is the first day of a big project step, because today is the first time we see in person. And that is amazing. So this is the summary of what we have planned to do together. And today we started, welcome again to the University of Florence. I will postpone this with a project review because I would like that Khaled will be with us.
Okay.
So maybe I can use a marking point if I am capable to find a marker. Instruments. No, I don't know. Anyway, we have already done the tour of the labs and the garden, so also we have done this, and you will have more opportunity to explore the environment where we are working in our labs. And also I have organized a seminar tomorrow in the classroom with Florence, so you will go in the classroom and sit together with your colleagues, students.
And we can set up Zoom if they want to listen to Friday tomorrow.
There is a Zoom camera there.
Great.
We are not, we cannot go in the classroom with our private things.
Okay.
There is an official one.
Very
So
good.
I will share the Zoom link, the WebEx link. Anyway. So what we want to start maybe in this morning and later in the afternoon, to start the grid line programming with a live video of the possibility that we have experimented here, but also in United States, and Vadim also on the 20th of February, about that is possible to program a grid line that is the strategy for covering an area, okay? We have to reproduce it here, and here we have also experimented some problems. I can take it out, maybe. And we have experimented some problems that is also part of our research, because we assume that our Jackal robot with the 2 ears, the GPS antenna, the ears, was capable to work in any environment, while it seems not. We needed to have an open space without trees or closed buildings.
Yeah.
That is our test.
Yes.
Because you have done, I remember in the park in the garden of Franklin Marshall, and Vadim in Ukraine did in the snow field and was working very well. Here, sometimes.
But
Yeah.
also in the Franklin Marshall, they have had the problem.
Eric can describe this.
Yes.
Eric has been working on exactly this.
So, they didn't have a program,
Oh, Khaled.
I think Andrew arrived as well. Text it in the chat.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Hello, it's great to meet you. Finally in person. It's been several years.
I'm busy for 3 years.
Watch out for
Eric.
Nice meeting you.
Ami.
Nice meeting you. Well, sorry for this. I thought.
Watch out for wire. Can you come take a seat up here?
Yes. Would you like to stay here? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The library.
Oh, yeah, here.
Andrew has arrived.
Are you okay? Did you sleep
Yeah,
fine?
He's outside.
It's just, I thought you
In
would
front of the
meeting
library.
on the Zoom. That's why I
Yeah,
found I just went out on Zoom and then
Or,
Gennady came and Diana and I was talking to them. I knocked that on the side, I was got my email.
No problem. We have time, we have
Yeah.
relaxed time, so we have possibility to arrange last minute.
Is he down in the courtyard?
He said he's in front of the library. The people that.
In front of the library, where's the?
Library is down.
I can show you.
If you can go with them, because they want also to refill the.
Oh,
the
yeah,
box.
Thank you, Luca.
So we have done a connection with the tripod and the zoom camera by Tim and Frodi. So we will be constantly permanent in connection with the Ukraine colleagues. And please, if you want, you can also say to Gunther and all your colleagues to be in connection.
I sent them a WhatsApp message because they see it right away. Only one responded. And he said, no, I don't get any invitation. So
Is that having trouble staying in? You want to put the multi-plug in there?
But
maybe you
maybe,
can send them an invitation and
Yes.
most likely they can join.
Now, the question is.
I think they are in the list, but let me check.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
No, yeah.
We're creating, oddly enough, tripwires on this side.
The full, okay, full list.
Full list?
Yes.
I think I sent it to Muntasir and Montaz and Hamza. I think I just sent it.
Oh,
Are they on the list?
oh.
If not, I'll send it to.
No,
So Hashem is not there, that's why he.
Oh, Hashem's due, yes. I see Hamza.
Hamza.
Hamza is there, yes.
Hamza.
Hamza Banyata, yes. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Let me send it to all of the Jordan team right now.
Yeah.
Momtaz.
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 Momtaz, yes.
And you sent it to them.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
for the pronunciation.
Yeah, so David has it down too.
Can I ask you something,
Yeah.
how to pronounce your name? Khaled?
It's Khalid.
Khaled.
Khaled.
Yes.
Sorry.
Khalid.
Khaled.
Khaled,
Mhm.
okay.
Sorry.
Well, the Greek people,
Mhm.
they have this letter.
There's a little.
Yeah, Christo instead of Christ, for example, is it Christo?
Okay. Christian, yes.
They have this letter, it's coming from here. Yeah. We are able, because of our language, we are able to pronounce almost any letter.
While for us,
Yes,
sometimes
it
it's
depends on,
Khaled.
alphabet.
Khaled.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Yes.
I'm sorry because I'm not familiar with all names.
No, well, no, I think we have some familiarity because we've been around,
Good.
I was wondering when the Romans were in, the Arab countries
Yeah.
around the Mediterranean, were they speaking the same Italian language now? Or
That
not?
is a good question because I have been recently. Sorry if we do a general conversation. 2 weeks ago, I was in Normandy in France. Because we celebrate my 60s, I am 60 years old now. And so I visited the museum where it is explained the story of the conqueror of the United Kingdom. So the Normans started to go there in 1000 about for making one country altogether and so on. So I have seen documents written in Latin. My question is the same of yours. How they could communicate in Latin with local population, local reign, local chiefs. It is amazing that they could do.
Yes. You know, I spent 1 year in Darmstadt, Germany, Professor Peter Hagedorn. Peter Hagedorn he's like a tourist. He went everywhere. He told me that for the German language, he cannot read the text, any text written more than like 200 years ago in German.
In German.
He cannot understand it. So he asked me, do you have the same with the Arabic language? I told him no. I mean, I can read any text written 1500 years ago and understand it.
In Italian, we have the same. If I read the documents of Leonardo da Vinci,
yes.
For me, it's difficult to read the calligraphy, but it's also to not only the calligraphy, but also to understand the meaning. Most of the meaning are fine, but not the detail.
Okay.
So we have the same problem.
Okay. Well, Leonardo da Vinci, I have great admiration for him. He is just unbelievable.
The universal engineer, we say.
Oh, it's amazing.
Because universal means that was an engineer from our point of view, but he also was a humanist, because human culture, artists and other medicine were in him. His brain was really open, was really curious.
Yes. Well, when you come to Jordan, you see what the Romans built, and unfortunately, there is like no literature. Okay, all you can see is, for example, in Jarash. Jarash, yes. It's like a whole town, pillars and theaters.
No description. There's no description of what it meant or what it is.
Or at least what their contribution, let's say, if there is any arts, I think that's buildings. But of course, science was not that important then. Also, when you go even to Petra, Petra, you heard about it.
Is one of the most iconic places.
Yes, it's amazing. I mean, you have to see it. You have to see it.
We would like to see it.
Yeah.
We'll come to Juice for a meeting next.
Oh, sure. See, if you, I went there twice, but each time you need at least, I would say, 2 to 3 days to see the town fully. And there are unexplored sections of the town till now.
Unexplored.
Wow.
Exploration needs a lot of money.
Yes.
Needs a lot of money, but it's carved in the rocks, and it is really amazing. But see, the Romans, they were there for 400 years trying to find how to get to this city. They knew that there is a city there.
But how to get there?
How to get there, they didn't know. only when there is a shepherd, they capture the shepherd, and they, you know, he had to tell them.
They made him lead them to the city?
Yeah, so he led them to the entrance.
Yeah.
The entrance is just between two large cliffs. It takes one car to go there. And it is like 2 kilometers, like a mile and some. And once you go into the city, you'll find this famous monument of Petra. They call it Al-Khazna. Al-Khazna. Al-Khazna means is an Arabic word, of course, because it was built by the Nabatean Arabs. The city, the whole city. And but once you go inside, when the Romans found, okay, there are some footprints of the Roman culture. Yeah, I mean they had they built it's like a souk, we call it, and there are some shops.
Souk, the market.
Something like a market, yes. And some monuments. And interesting, very interesting how cultures interact.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Good. So we are now almost completed. We are waiting the students of Team and From that it's arriving, and later, now when they will be here, we wish to continue to work on the revision of our project and the activity we plan to do during this week. So we were just started, but now we wait for the group, the younger. Oh, hello. Did you get your water?
Yes, we get also a new young
Yes, yes. On this side are the old. Yes, except this area, Okay, so I wish to say thank you again in presence of Khaled, because you travel here, you employ your time, and I hope next visit also your collaborators will be with us, because it's important that the youngest they have to go and they have to work together. So did you follow? I'm talking to our Ukraine colleague. Did you follow our general conversation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe we can make it loud. Right. So I will continue to see the document, not this one. Okay. So I am revising the activity quickly, and if we need to do some changes, better to do it now. And then we can see a quick revision of the project changes after the event of the Ukraine war that in February has prompted to change a bit our project goals and our project efforts from each of us. And then a small, maybe 15 minutes of the budget review. Okay. So today we are all together, and we can start maybe in later this morning to go down and see the garden, also with the Khaled, and the test site. In the evening, in the afternoon, I think Andrew, you was talking about the programming.
Yes, we were just.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for us, there was a package that was not installed that should have been installed by ClearPath on our Jackal, which prevented us from surveying with the base station. And so that was why we had instances of good accuracy, bad accuracy. But now with the package installed, we're able to properly survey the base station and get repeatable, accurate results.
Good.
And to clarify, the indicator that things were not right
Yes.
was that we had some lights that were flashing or not flashing.
Mhm.
So if other robots also have the same condition, then that would suggest a problem. So it's
Yes.
worth maybe
Double check.
checking each robot to make sure that the lights are as they should be.
Yes.
There are two yellow controllers for the GPS antennas,
Yeah.
and one of them had a constantly blinking red light.
Mhm.
So and a blinking red light usually means trouble.
Yes, yes, very red.
But we actually wanted it when
Yeah.
we got light in the system. So one of the modules didn't have any lights.
Oh, so the blinking is good.
Yes.
So that one was good.
Correct.
It was the other one.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly.
And the symptom in the field was, we would use the robot to set waypoints
Mhm.
and then tell it to drive a green line on those waypoints. And sometimes it would miss the waypoint that it had set by meters.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
but
Now,
we're past that now. Everything seems to be good.
Sometimes we had also in our experiments that they missed the waypoints if they are too close.
Yes.
mhm,
Yes.
If you have,
The
Oh,
first,
you start too close to it.
yes,
Okay.
first waypoint generally is lost.
yeah, you have to get within the sweet spot of it, because usually it still disregards it. And sometimes it'll sort of be like, okay, there's the first point, and it just straight lines into the second.
Yes.
Exactly.
Khaled, when your jackal arrives, you'll have Luca and Vadim Ruban and Eric all know. They've all done troubleshooting.
Yeah.
So-
yes, this is the team, Eric, Luca, Vadim, sorry. This is the effort of
Yeah,
the FFP2.
I think between the three of them, they've encountered every problem you could possibly encounter with this, so.
unfortunately, the country's regulations, they are quite strict. 45 years ago, see, I started an innovation center at the university. And then of course, I had some budget, so I could buy things. So the first thing I wanted to make a fab lab, start a fab lab.
Yeah.
So the cornerstone would be a 3D printer.
Yeah.
That was not allowed to be imported to the country then. So what I did,
Printer, that's crazy.
it is crazy, but what can you do? I mean, I know, I moved from the United States back to Jordan several times, back and forth. The regulations sometimes are killing you. So what I did is I wrote an affidavit saying this will be used only within the the perimeter of the university, which is a huge area. Probably one of the largest, land in most universities. And it's like 7 kilometers by 2 kilometers. That's the whole, So I just wrote this and it went, it worked. Now, another thing was the drones at the time. So I had a drone with, it's installed with a camera, video camera, with the provision to record everything. And again, that was not allowed. It is still not allowed. But again, I wrote, an affidavit saying this will not be used outside the university walls. Assuming there are walls. So this time it's a little different. Now they want a security clearance for this robot and go through some steps. I don't know. So we're working on that right now. And of course, well, with a metal detector, because Jordan is full of antiquities.
Oh,
Many people, found golden treasures. Many people, especially in the northern part of Jordan.
yeah.
It is amazing. And personally, I can say, you know, I don't want to take the time, but I can tell you some stories of people that I knew. Like a worker on our farm, he used to go very nearby. There is a place called Khirbet Mera, and this place is very old, from 2,000 years ago. And he was digging every day from dawn to sunrise, like 2 hours or something like this. And all of a sudden he disappeared. He did not come to work.
So
Yes.
so the easiest way for you is to use the robotic system inside the university.
Of course, with the metal detector, of course, there are, you know, of course, they can pinpoint certain metals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy, my father went and checked in his village. Where is he? He doesn't know. Now he has trailers, he has this and that. He's very rich now, and he disappeared. He moved to another maybe town. Nobody can find him. It's amazing. So,
Anyway, so you are doing this
all the
bureaucracy
yes,
steps.
yes. I mean, we're dealing. That's why I remember when we first started this project, I said it's much easier for us in Jordan to start building a robot from scratch than to buy a new one.
Import, yeah,
Import one.
right.
Yeah, because I built 3.
I remember your observation, but unfortunately we have a team of
Right.
same robots.
I know, I'm not
Okay,
against
okay,
it. It's just,
Good.
Yeah.
So today I think we will do this group. Who is in your group following the programming of the robots? Who? Montas or Munster?
all 3.
All three.
All 3, they are, you know, well qualified to do programming. Mumtaz can deal with the ROS
Okay.
very well, and Muntasir, Hamza as well.
Okay.
These 3. Also Hashim. Hashim is, of course, has less experience than
Yeah,
the others.
younger.
Yes, he's younger, but he's good. I mean, I was in that university for like 1 year, and he was a student doing some projects, innovative projects, and all have, you know, drones and programming and so on.
So in the team of Luca,
Yes.
Eric, and Vadim,
Yes.
they can work all together,
Oh, yes.
collaborators, so there is one that will follow the programming.
Right. Yes.
It's up to you.
Oh yes, certainly. Yes, certainly.
Okay, so today, if they are connected, and I prompt them to be connected because it's an opportunity, they can share the programming by the web application provided by ClearPath. The web application, in our experience, well, is working, but it could be better, much better. Anyway, so in the afternoon, also we will have another session that I think interesting because it is mostly related also to your robot. That is the demonstration that with metal detectors, our metal detectors that are military grade metal detectors and also the metal detectors of Tim and Froni, we can detect some targets. So, which is the purpose of this step? Of course, is also the nice experience to use metal detector on the field by you, but also to demonstrate that your robot with the one metal detector will be capable to find and to detect at least 2 targets. One is a plastic landmine, PMM4, I think it's PMM4, and the other is
Metal tin.
a metal tin, tobacco tin, the famous standard tobacco tin.
I had an idea for a very simple experiment that we could actually start here since we have some metal detectors. And then we could all, when we go home, complete it. I think it would be interesting, we all have the same set of landmines now, the simulants from Colin King. I think it would be interesting to set up the metal detector in the lab in a fixed location, and then position the mines, simulants, across it, and take readings as you cross the sensor head, and do that at a number of different elevations above the metal detector.
In air.
In air, yeah. So we get an idea of what is the shape of the sensitivity of various metal detectors to these different mines. I mean, ideally, it would be nice to have some lateral sensitivity, so it starts to pick it up as it's approaching it. But then you want a really sharp peak right over it, so that you can sense them from a distance, but then you can also highly localize them. So I think it would be interesting, especially since we have with us a professional metal detector, but it's designed, it's not quite the same as these military grade, but we have a model that's the official US Department of Defense metal detector that they use for mines. So
That's
we
the one
can,
you brought.
no, that's not the one I brought, because that one's
Oh,
way more to ship. I brought the little, the really highly sensitive one with the
Yeah.
tiny head.
So it
But
is nice
if
because
we could use our standard set of mines and run them across the head, so that we're not picking up, if we move the metal detector, we're picking up things in the room. And we could do it at different heights, so we get a sense of the lateral detection limits plus vertical.
this is a good, I have a question. I am not an expert of metal detectors, but in air is fine. But of course, maybe there is an influence of the soil underneath the mounts, because where we will have the mines, in a sandbox or in a natural ground.
Yeah. Typically, I think Khaled may know better than me, but I think soils have to be extremely electrically conductive before they start to affect a metal detector.
Okay.
Either highly electrically conductive or magnetic, actually containing magnetite or some other magnetic mineral. So for a relatively dry, sandy, or purely organic soil, the difference between air and soil is not that much.
Okay.
What about dry soil versus somewhat wet soil? Is that a major factor or not a small factor?
It's a small factor, because the moment you add moisture to soil, it becomes more conductive, because the moisture may have dissolved solids, may have ions in it, or if there are clay minerals, when you get clay minerals wet, they become more conductive.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing. When we were designing the first robots, including, constructing a metal detector from scratch, like wooden pulley and wrapping, and winding the cover, insulated wire, everything, the detection coil, and the circuitry. We built it. It's a beat frequency oscillator, basically. And then we put it on this robot, the one that we have shown you. It's on the web as well. We put this on stools, so it's in the air. And then we could detect from the simple device, if you have an aluminum piece of metal, it's only less than 1 kilogram, if you bring it up, okay, then you have like 30 centimeters. It would start, it will give you the flash and the sound and everything. Now, of course, when you put it in a soil environment, it is slightly, especially now when we moved this robot and it was ready to be tested, we just put it on the hallway. And this thing doesn't want to move because it's programmed. If there is a landmine, stop there, and you have a buzzer and you have a flashlight. Okay. So it didn't want to move. Oh my God! For a while, what happened? So let's bring it back to the lab, and it works. In the air, as we mentioned, it works. So bring it back again there, it didn't work, and say, okay, that's it. It's picking the steel bars
the rebar in the concrete.
It is,
Yeah.
it is, it's steel
Yes.
bars, yeah, it doesn't want to
Yes.
move, there is a landmark here.
That's funny.
I understand the problem with metal detectors.
Yes.
So if I understand, please.
So no, Lorenzo, we can use also the samples that we have
Samples
of metal in the.
oh, yes.
Yes, we can test clutter
Yes,
as well.
Mhm.
There are samples of metal in
Yeah.
the box of metal detectors.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see the difference in response between the mines and
Yeah.
clutter.
Yeah.
Let me mention something.
Please.
I was talking to Gennady today, and he
Gennady
said,
is here.
yes, and he just mentioned that he's going to the institute for the first time, I think.
Yeah.
When I asked him, is your robot safe? He said, I think.
It looks, before you arrived,
Ah.
Gennady showed a nice movie and the pictures of inside the offices.
Okay.
The offices has a lot of, maybe Gennady can show, Gennady.
No, he's there, he's on.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you show again to Khaled one or two pictures of the robot in your office?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
So that multiple people can share.
Gennady is an institute, no?
No, I think it's a home.
Let me be a host. Him.
Non si fa da attivare questo. Maybe here.
Him.
Interrompi, sorry.
I am not a host. I cannot show. Let me do demonstration.
Yes.
Oh, Maxime is joining us.
Maximo, yeah.
Yes, Maxim joined us. Yes.
The live transcription just
Yeah.
called him Maximum.
Maximo.
Team. Let me be organizer, host.
Okay. If I make you host, it may stop recording. I think I've set it so that anybody, any participant ought to be able to share.
Everything okay. I can see. I will be able to show, I think.
There it is.
Here is
So
our
you slide the
Yes,
box
sorry.
down. There we go.
So that is the lab where Vadim and the others worked on experimental part. This is the garden.
Well, there is no snow. I remember seeing thing with the snow.
No, I think now is already
Yeah.
Springtime.
It's springtime.
springtime. Yeah. And these are the offices.
Yeah. More or less intact.
The windows are all blown out.
Of course.
Yes.
But there it is.
This is again the same. Other laboratory. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes, that's good.
And what I can show.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Gennady.
Thanks, Gennady.
You're welcome.
Let's go back to the.
No, ours is about. No, 35 kilos.
Oh, no, that's 75 pounds.
In fact,
Deve interrompere Gennady.
okay.
It's solo to people.
Right.
Gennady, can you stop sharing?
Yes,
Screen?
yes, yes. Подожди.
That's in our hotel. Right now, what I do, someone looked very much like Lorenzo.
Really?
But he was dressed in his shoes, and my God, I wanted to shake hands with him and say, "Yeah, you're Lorenzo."
We are ready for experiment.
It's amazing.
That's funny. We'll have to look for it.
I saw him today. This.
There's someone in our hotel that looks just like you, apparently.
Yeah. Okay, so again, right, I would like to go on, and today, after we will do this metal detector check, we will record the position of this, and we will program the robot going in the positions where the metal detector detects something, maybe on the Greek line, and then we will do the test with different heights. These are the two purposes. And of course, we can start doing also the programming with our robot, and check what are revealing, showing the microwave images in real time. So Luca will help us, Mattia will be with us, and Pierluigi also.
Yes.
So we will be a big group in the afternoon. Then tomorrow we will continue to do the demonstration with the robot and the holographic reader, so you will see how it works and so on. And also we will record a live video that are very important. And maybe if we have time later in the morning, we will have a discussion panel here on what we have done today and tomorrow about the metal detector and the robot programming. And then we will start tomorrow afternoon the tripwire setup with experiment with the camera and the LiDAR and so on. And tomorrow we will have again Mattia together with us because he is following this part. And Pierluigi asked me if at 4 p.m. 16, some of you that are interested to separate from the other rest of the group and work together with him here, and also with other of your collaborators in Jordan and Ukraine for the device driver standards, how to do it with practical examples, not theory. So if one of you would like to connect today with Pierluigi, so you can stay here tomorrow and work together. Finally, we will have a discussion on 19, discussion on the experimental test on tripwire. Is working. We will keep in one of the position of one of the tripwire detection will be now on robot number 1. The robot that now is French and Marshall. Robot 2 will have the metal detector, okay? And then we have robot 3 here. So we have to decide if robot number one is capable to detect reliably required. And that, I think this week will be very important, probably will be the key part of this week. And finally, on afternoon of 19, we have to define the demonstration we would like to show to the advisory board. And as far as I know, one of member of advisory board will be connected, Masaharu Nagase from Japan.
Chuck Ryan from USA will also be on.
From the queue.
Yeah, and one of the, from our end user or two, one of the vice presidents wants to.
Oh, very good. Yeah, so we have to be very strong and very, very professional. And of course, we would like to experiment on the afternoon of 19, a very easy experiment to Luca and Luigi will share their computer, and so from Jordan or UK they can start the programming of robot and going into the position where we can check and find something with microwave images. Vadim Ruban is also working on full programming the robot from anywhere, from Ukraine, from Jordan. But this task, Vadim Ruban, can you hear me? Maybe yes.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes, I know that you are working very hard and very efficient on the VPN programming for accessing the robot directly. This is quite a very important task, but we have little time to do experiment because it takes more than half a day, and we do not have time now. So for the demonstration purpose, we don't need to demonstrate that you can program the robot from anywhere now. It is a very crucial part, but we will do with more relaxed time next week. Okay?
Okay.
I would like to thank you very much for doing this effort with Luca and all the others, but I prefer to do a more reliable and simple experiment.
May I suggest something?
Yes.
This will give me an idea that we would dedicate certain, piece of land.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it will not be identical in each country, but at least we would put those waypoints with the simulants at designated, exact depths and so on.
Exactly.
We can unify, for example, the covering could be sand.
Yeah.
And sand properties are very similar, And then, let's say the first robot would go in, for example, let's say detect these waypoints, move, and the same information will be transmitted
Yes.
to the second
robot.
Yes, and then the third robot and
Yeah.
so on. Yeah, we're simulating, like a whole test where these robots are following each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll make identical test beds
Yes.
in all locations. Yeah.
Yes.
This is a very, very useful way to avoid problems of transferring robot in one country or another, because not so easy and very cheap.
Plus, during shipping, you might have problems with
Yes.
this.
Yes, so the team will work maybe in the next months to design these testing.
Yes.
We'll design, and you're right, we need to have all the dimensions, the locations and the depths.
Yes.
Everything the same, yeah.
Okay.
we're still having problems with Phoenix. See, I sent them for an offer, and they sent it back to me, but I asked them to have the name of Just, as it was addressed to Just. Now, our university, again, regulations, they said, no, we have to send them an email, okay? And they have to respond to the same email address with their offer. Till now, Phoenix did not respond to Just email. So I asked the debate leader, which she's very efficient, to send them again. That was before my coming here. Send them again because it might have gone to the junk mail or whatever. We still, and I remember Lorando having some problems with the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is another company in Jordan who volunteered to bring the same simulants. I don't know where from. If the university will come forward and tell them, oh, go ahead.
But it's important to have exactly the same simulants.
Yes. I mean, we have the money.
Yeah.
And we told them, we negotiated a little bit with them. So it's like 3,000 JD, that's the cost. In JD, not in dollars or in pounds. It's a little bit, not much. And then the shipping was like 120 something. So we said, that's fine. Okay, to me, but they did not respond to the university. Something is wrong with the communication. Yeah.
So
but it should be coming.
Okay. But please, if you have some problems, maybe you can write a few words to Colin King.
Yes, yeah, because we've been in touch with him, I think. Even as I've spoken with him.
I've spoken with Colin a few times now. Mainly on the idea of using the iPhone and its LiDAR capabilities to try and detect, or let's just say pre-detect landmines that are planted outside of the surface. So using some form of machine learning or artificial intelligence to detect the landmine. Okay. Essentially just giving us a warning that a landmine could be there. Unfortunately, he did tell us that it's very, very complex to do something like that. And mainly it's very inefficient due to the fact you would need a library to train this machine learning of close to 50 to 60,000 images per landmine. What he did end up suggesting was trying to use an approach of virtual imaging. So if I use the example of an iPhone, the virtual image of the iPhone would be something that we could look at from all angles using a 3D software, and then using that similar approach with the LiDAR technology. Colin has been very helpful with this aspect, but I did not speak to him about what we were just mentioning.
Yeah, but he's been working with us very nicely. So if you're having trouble getting the simulants, we'll contact you.
Yeah, the guy from Phoenix who we were communicating with, sending offers back and forth, is Sue.
Yes.
Zoe.
Z-O-E.
Yes, Zoe.
Zoe. So I asked the lady to send it to Colin.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, because maybe Colin, I know that you are in good contacts.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember I wrote several messages.
Okay.
In our case, they did something silly. They sent the parcel with ordinary mail. No express mail, and it was lost. I think it was lost. Here, never arrived. It was in Italy at the custom, but never delivered here. So probably now it's back. And so after 2 months, I suggest why you don't use TNT or Federal Express or DHL, and in 3 days arrived.
So you do have them now?
Yeah.
The one question I had was for the GPS. If we continue to see that there are issues, do we have an idea of what direction we want to go with the GPS? Will we stick with ClearPath, or can we look at other options?
Very important question. in principle, we have to define which is the best technology for providing these new methods in any environment. But we know that GPS technology is always advancing, but now has limitation. I'm not an expert of GPS, but I think the resolution we asked for making the accuracy, sorry, not resolution, the accuracy for finding position is a 5 centimeter. That for our purpose is a good resolution, but probably the technology that ClearPath can deliver now is at the limit of the technology for civil applications. Maybe there are more sophisticated applications that can reach this accuracy in other environments.
Yeah.
So about your question, shall we continue to with ClearPath or not? This is my personal opinion. Of course, we can share the time of the schedule of this project has already, I think, gone beyond some limits. If we start now to revise the configuration of robots, we will never see the end of the project. What I suggest is to keep this technology, to find an environment where we can achieve the accuracy and demonstrate in this condition. Okay. And then we will say, okay, this is the limit. Let's see.
Okay.
This is my opinion.
Yeah, probably. You're right. I think, well, I have mainly 2 points here to mention. First of all, I'm working on I've done that several years ago, but I revived it, and we are still working on it now with Montaz and another team, which is I call it electromechanical. Something like a GPS, but this has nothing to do with the satellites. It's an old Chinese invention, very old, 6,000 years ago. But I made it electromechanical, where you have it on a vehicle, okay? Then you sense the motion, and you pinpoint the coordinates of that electromechanical. I mean, you have, first of all, the input is mechanical, but then you transform it into mechanical. We built a robot, a 3-wheeled robot on that. I had the master student who graduated to work on this. And this way, I mean, there's no interference, there's nothing, you don't worry about it. Maybe later on, I don't know, it could be another project or whatever. I thought I'd mention it. I'll show you some photos.
Some documents that we can explain. I think that our project will, if we end our project with a very successful demonstration, even with some limitation, we can go ask for a continuation of an extension to another project.
And my question, did we ask for an extension? I think we did.
Yes,
We did not.
Is not yet approved.
Not approved yet.
Because the NATO said is important to discuss also this point. NATO said, because of the Ukraine war, of course, you could have some delay. When you have demonstrated that you have delayed some part, we can approve. But now, at the documentation level, milestone 2, you do not have any delay.
Right.
So we cannot
We met
approve
milestone 2.
in advance that you promise that you have delay. If you will demonstrate that, it's a very factual approach. Even for our Ukraine colleagues, if their robot is broken, okay, they will say our robot is broken. Can we have more money. If they will demonstrate that it's broken, NATO can evaluate to give us more money. So
the same logic was used with, I have another project funded by a Jordanian scientific research fund. It's like $60,000 or so. It's a new technology again, but anyway, because you know, in February, I got the approval of my university to go on sabbatical to Georgia Tech in Atlanta. So I wrote them saying, well, okay, I'm going to Georgia Tech, so I would like to extend the project. Oh, they were upset. They use the same logic. They say only extension 2 months before the end of this project.
yes.
I don't know what to do now. I'm in trouble.
So of course, about your question, we will try to keep the pace of our project activities. But if we have found that we have some delays or some technology did not work, we can discuss with NATO.
I agree with your opinion on ClearPath. I think we're too far into the project to switch to a whole new platform. And it's a problem. I wish we had known about this going into it, but no platform is going to work in all conditions. So I think we just have to change our mindset. We need to think about it differently. And this is going to work in places where there aren't trees and you're not close to big buildings.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to work in wide open fields. We've all seen the pictures on the news of huge wide open fields in Donbass. So it's going to work in places where there aren't trees, you know, out in the fields.
And their nominal accuracy was 1 to 2 centimeters. They found 2 centimeters. Now, is that realistic? I don't know, but it should be pretty good if we can get out from under the trees. So I think that.
And I guess that's one of the reasons I'm thinking about doing these experiments with the metal detector. How close do we really have to be? You know, what accuracy or what precision do we need in reoccupying targets?
Yeah. Today and this week will be very important to check all these quantities.
Okay, let me iterate on the metal detection strategy. I think one time we presented this. We were talking about this coil. Of course, it depends how what is the size of the coil. Normally, it would detect when okay, let's say this is a landmine here, and the coil is moving. Now you get a signal the very first time the electromagnetic wave hit and get this distortion by the pickup coil. Okay, and say, okay, now the program should be such that, okay, now we continue moving and detect it from the other side, because then you have a region of, let's say, it's not uncertainty, but at least okay, it has picked. So this is like the western borders, and this is like the right, the eastern border.
If you sweep both directions,
right, yes,
you get the diameter. Yeah.
And then the question of accuracy for the I think might be solved, or at least limited.
Yeah. And of course, if it's advancing while it's sweeping, then you get a number of points around the outside of it, right? So you can you begin to see the footprint of it almost?
Yeah, but normally, okay, I think even, let's say, sometimes this coil might be moving, and actually I demonstrated this in one of the tests. The first video, I have shown you. If the tip of the coil is, let's say, very close there, it will not pick it. Okay.
Very closer to.
Yeah, I mean, let's say we had a plate, a metallic plate, and this thing was moving like this and did not detect it. Okay, only when this thing went over, it detected it.
Yeah.
but because there is like a minimum amount of metal that should be under or included in the magnetic flux to give a distortion signal to the electrical coil. So maybe, I think, practically we can do that.
How big is the coil typically?
Depends.
It's normally like 20, 25 centimeters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less than a foot.
So does that then limit the resolution of any kind of morphology that you're trying to determine? So if you had a very narrow thing, let's say it's something very small like this, when you sweep your coil over it, you don't know the size of this because it triggers on, then off. So you think you have a 20 centimeter signal and you don't know whether it's 15 centimeters in diameter or 1 centimeter in diameter. So are we limited to 20 centimeters anyway? No.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons it would be interesting to do these tests in air above the coil.
Yeah.
So we see what different size coils, how they respond. The metal detector that we brought has a very small coil, but it's designed, I don't know exactly how, but it's designed to have really good penetration despite the fact that it has a coil that's only a few inches in diameter, maybe 20 centimeters in diameter.
Yeah.
See, also, in order to avoid the terrain geometry, this factor to eliminate it.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are proposing, and we mentioned this on some of our meetings. Then I would have like a lens type plastic, glued to the coil itself. Okay, this way you can lower the coil and even touching the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, and moving. Okay, scratches and plastic is nothing. Moving. But this way, again, you minimize. You don't have to raise it like 10 centimeters or more. Maybe there are some rocks.
Yeah.
Of course. What I believe also, for every robot I designed and built and tested, okay, I'll show you some. There must be an operator. Because you cannot just have it there, go and bring it back to me in my office. No, there must be an operator. Sometimes if you see something like there is a ditch, you need to stop or redirect this robot. This way, if you find a big rock, for example, this thing, of course, cannot go. If it goes, it will be damaged.
Yeah, that's the reason, because the first row will have also a camera.
We have the LiDAR.
LiDAR.
But I agree with you, Colin. We're going to need an operator because it would be just an incredibly complex task to have the robot figure out what to do if you come to a ditch or to a rock.
For example, yes.
But with the LiDAR on the first robot, it will be able to spot ditches and rocks and things and tell the operator with the operator at a safe distance. But you're right, I think it's impossible to engineer something that doesn't have an operator nearby.
Right. And another thing, and this might be good, another suggestion for a future project, is to have a drone, okay, let's say on top of this robot. It can sweep the area first, an aerial view, so that the operator will know the terrain, how it's, and then we can decide to go ahead.
I also, the drone idea, I thought of, because we had the drone in our class.
I remember when you go to the big drone,
But I think
maybe one of the first in the library room.
Yes, yeah,
We tested together.
Different in the
one of the main issues of a drone, for example, is like if we say that the robot in ideal situations, flat land, no trees, no nothing, it could work essentially with the base and just a few Greek lines. If we introduce the drone, we also have to have an ideal situation of no trees, no shrubbery, and nothing else.
Yeah.
So I think solving, like we said, an operator has to be there at all times when the robot is on, because even if we do use the LiDAR technology to detect a ditch or a big rock, there has to be someone that moves the robot manually, and we have to make sure at least it doesn't get stuck. What I think the main worry is that there's some obstacles that I've noticed that sometimes LiDAR doesn't really pick up on very well. And for example, with the maneuverability of our robot, it's not fantastic in terms of riding over certain objects, smaller objects that won't be essentially picked up on the LiDAR technology. That can be almost mapped out clean, especially with the iPhone from what I've seen. Because I think the app we use has a good resolution to give you an idea of what is ahead of the robot. But at times it's some of the smaller objects that can get the robot stuck, like a small rock or small stick that can get into the wheel, can affect it in certain cases. And then the drone itself, the drone could also greatly help us with the GPS. Because it could act as basically a relay station for the robot.
Yeah, I would like to add another comment about the use of drones for landmine detection. Remember that Gennady was in a conference in Switzerland about a year ago, and that conference, I think the use of drones for helping, for supporting the ground operation was really well developed. There were a lot of proposals. And again, I propose to you to see the movies and the recording and presentations that are available, because I think that conference was really the state of the art for using drones for landmine detection. So I think I shared the link to that conference, but there were very good presentations. Maybe Gennady can also comment the experience he had in Switzerland.
I can say that drone is not a solution for all cases. Sometimes it works, sometimes no. There are a lot of different suggestions. For example, if mines are on the surface, the technology like SAR or thermal sensors allow to find land mines, but this is not only the solution for land mine detection from this conference.
Yes,
I agree.
It is not the only technology that can be used. Generally, drones could be used to help and to be integrated with other technologies.
You know, as it is very difficult to keep drone on the place because of wind and other. Our holographic radar allowed, owing to its high resolution, allowed to find to get image of the objects, of subsurface object. It is impossible to do this with modern drones. So this is another way, another way to solve this task.
Thank you, Gennady. If I remember the presentations I saw, actually the drones can also map the thermal gradient during the daylight. And there are special environments, probably Jordan is one of these environments where the excursion of temperature between day and night is big.
Yes.
And you can monitor the field where there are tracks of anomalies of this excursion because of the different thermal properties of the case, especially the plastic and the metal one. Yeah, so drones could be used to map a ground and provide information to ground robots, I think.
Yeah, just to see from a distance, but to land, you cannot get close to what the robot and the metal detector can do. It can be touching the ground.
Yeah.
While you cannot let if it's going to land the drone and then do some measurements and come back again. It's a tedious job.
Good. Right. So I think we have almost done the revision of the plan. If you wish, I can revise a bit the project schedule, the change we have done. So I stop the sharing and I find another printer. Okay, first is about the budget review. That is quite an important task because we need money to go on. And as soon as I will have the final, the budget review, I can say that some of you have spent a less budget you have available. So please use your budget as soon as you can, because an unspent budget is not a good sign of progress. Right. So if you have difficulties, we can compensate and we can ask a redistribution on partners that they need more to compensate for the work of the others. The overall budget remained the same, but if we have done, I think, in the previous project that Ukraine colleagues couldn't arrive to spend the budget, and so they left me or
we transferred. I forget exactly which direction, but yeah.
But of course, we have to decide in advance, because spending money seems an easy process, but sometimes it's not. First of all, you have to work to get the money, and then you have to work to spend the money. And when you have spent the money, you have to work to say that you have spent the money. So you work 3 times. This is a general rule. So
that's the worst part.
Yeah. My general comment on the budget review, we have spent almost, but we are a bit still lower than the planned expenditures we have declared. So in milestone 3 that we started in March, we have some budget. I think the budget is now finally approved last week, because you had some the integration of requests. I think NATO approved, and probably in a month we will have the money for milestone 3. And in our unit, University of Florence, we do not have to spend much in hardware. I don't think so. Maybe in LiDAR and some holder for the LiDAR and that's it? Maybe with something with your microwave system?
No,
Yeah.
no.
So the money we need maybe is for programming and sustaining people for programming and so on. This is my, and traveling also, because we have to plan a visit in Jordan, in the United States, and so on.
You guys might be able to jump in on this, but I think for milestone 3, our only hardware cost is going to be some kind of gimbal mount for the camera and for the LiDAR.
Well, I was
That's going to be
something that
pretty cheap, I guess.
I was trying to get is, do we have a schematic drawing that is dimensioned for the proposed final robot? So we can get an understanding of if we do use the LiDAR technology on the iPhone, where we could potentially mount it onto the robot.
Ethan, this has changed with the new plan. Originally, the camera and LiDAR were going to go on Ukraine's robot, but now you have the robot that we need to mount it on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one that we're mounting it on.
Right.
So
So the camera of the iPhone is being used now.
well, that's one of the things that we need to test and determine. Yi has really good detection going on with that camera. If we could use the iPhone for both LiDAR and tripwire detection, that would simplify things, but we don't know whether iPhone will work for it.
Yeah.
We know that this one works very well.
Another potential use for the iPhone is its GPS. Again, we could potentially use their GPS technologies. I'm not exactly sure how it will work with the tracking, but at least from what I've seen, when we use the iPhone, if it's connected to something, any type of GPS system, it works fairly well. That could be used in hand with the ClearPath.
But is there any way that an iPhone GPS will outmatch the base?
That's where
Yeah.
it is to see.
It could, I would be really surprised if it was better than the GPS on the Jackal, but with positioning, the more information you can add, the more redundancy you have, the better it is. So if there was a way to enhance what we already have with the iPhone's GPS and its magnetometer, because it measures headings as well. So that's a good idea. If there was some way to combine them to make it all better.
At this point, since we're using the iPhone, I think we should try to get as much out of it as possible.
And that might even help with multipathing from trees and buildings.
Yeah.
Because iPhone, part of what goes into positioning is it uses distances from cell towers.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But the only issue is the GPS technology in the United States is phenomenal. It's great. But I'm very curious to see how well it works and how it works in general. If we need a SIM card for it, if we can we can get by that and find a different way. But like we said, I think using every bit of technology the iPhone has developed already is I think the best approach, because it's a ready-made technology and it's cheap, much cheaper than the LiDAR.
Go ahead, Yi.
Did we bring the iPhone 13? with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might need to run some tests for the tripwire. We can do that, but I don't think it's gonna work well, because like this camera is like the resolution for this is 24 megabyte pixel, and the iPhone 13 I just checked has only like half of that.
Okay. So
And yeah,
Half
But-
of the pixels.
yeah, it's so 12 megabytes. So we can do tests because it's easy to use iPhone.
Yeah.
and we can
Definitely.
compare. We can
Yeah.
compare both.
Yeah. You know, another test we can do while we're all together is we could take our iPhone, which we brought, and have it track as the robot is traversing a Greek line. We could have the iPhone use its positioning and see if it reproduces, see if it's measuring how well its tracking matches the Greek line that we programmed.
Yeah. tracking.
Is it megabytes or megapixels?
Megapixels, sorry.
So we'll
Because the Galaxy, the Samsung
just take our
Galaxy
iPhone
only
to
offers
Jack.
180
Yeah.
megapixels.
Wait,
Maybe it's
See?
interesting to
this is,
have
Yeah.
empirical means of tripwire detection.
I don't think, no.
I think
Out like this, a camera.
Before megapixel.
Yeah, yes, we talked about this recently as something to enhance, or supplement the optical. Yeah.
I think with the sweeping motion of the metal
Yeah.
detector,
I'm just
you
curious.
can have
Because this
something.
Sensing, mechanical sensing.
Integrated with it to detect.
Something like a cat's whiskers. You know,
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. That's
Yeah.
always a sort of,
Look at Galaxy S20.
Yeah.
Right?
But actually makes things maybe a bit easier.
I know that as a,
Yeah.
as an impromptu, kind of an unofficial method, in the US Armed Forces, they use silly string, and before they enter an area, they'll shoot the silly string, and if it drapes over something invisible, they know that there's a tripwire.
It could work.
So
It might be with
about the tripwire test, we will use the standard tripwire provided by Phoenix. So all of us will have the same tripwire that is a military grade or military approved tripwire. Of course, the tripwire in reality, there are different kinds, like fishing. Fishing wires.
I'm curious to know what they've been finding as the Russians left Irpin and Bucha and the area around Kiev. They left behind a lot of tripwires, a lot of booby traps. And I've been curious, I haven't seen in any reports, but I'm curious to know what materials they're using for that. Whether it's always the same steel wire like Poland Cave sent us, or do they improvise? Do they use fishing line or cotton string or?
Well, one of the robots, I have this ultrasonic detection for obstacles. And if you detect, but that was like detection of the wall in front of the moving robot. Each time it could even detect it from like 6 meters or even like 30 centimeters. You programmed it, so the detection was, variable. And I have videos of that. You could see how it's moving, and it sees, through ultrasonics, it turned 90 degrees. Okay, so I put it in a room, maybe it will look for a door and go out.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe we can do some testing, on ultrasonics. If you can detect this tripwire or not. It might, the tripwire presence, of course, air would not impede any waves. But maybe that might have some effect. It needs maybe some precision.
Quite a lot.
Yes, because it is easy. If it does, it will be very easy.
As far as I know, the attempts of detecting wire by ultrasound were made, but not so easy because the tripwire has a different height with respect to the solid. You have to scan quickly each line perpendicular to the wire in order to get information about the diffraction of waves. In order to have diffraction of waves, you have to use a very high frequency ultrasonic, like 500 kilohertz. We have done, but with 500 kilohertz, the transducers, they can look maybe few or tenths of centimeters, and not so far like 50 or 1 centimeters or 1 meter. So in principle, ultrasound can detect. In reality, in my experience, the system is quite cumbersome because generally the ultrasound airborne sensors are used for navigation purposes, like wall detection, obstacle detection. And so the wavelength of the ultrasound is, for example, 10 or 5 or 50 centimeters. That is enough for the detection of a wall or a door, open door. But for the tripwire and especially the plastic ones have an impedance that is more closer to the air, and the reflectivity from this very tiny wire, plastic tiny wire, is very low. I remember we devised, I can show you some systems. I have a poster down, I will show you, with different sensors with different bandwidth and different frequency to detect different kind of obstacles. It's possible, but the system becomes complex.
The other thing that's nice about doing it optically is you get a large enough image in one shot that you often don't see the whole tripwire. But the algorithm will line up small individual line segments and recognize them as a tripwire that may be partially concealed by vegetation or whatever else.
So if you know some technology, ultrasonic technology, that can be applied, I'm keen to examine again, but we studied for a year about without any results. Practical results. I mean, theoretically, yes. Practical, no.
Sometimes I get crazy ideas.
No.
We need to hear them.
We need them.
We want to hear them all.
We are looking at a crazy world, so crazy idea can fit.
Once you have a camera, okay, and this is a crazy idea. I'm sure you'll laugh at it. You know the bubbles that kids play with, soap bubbles.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have the bubble generator attached to this robot, and it just shoots. Of course, wind conditions have to be perfect. And then, okay, it hits the, we have a stream of bubbles, of course. If it hits a tripwire, it will boom, go on. So you can detect it by the camera for sure.
Yes, are you sure that the bubbles doesn't spoil the optics of the camera? What kind of bubbles? Like
soap bubbles. Yes, bubbles.
But if the bubbles hit the optical lenses, maybe?
Oh, no, it will be away because you are shooting it to the front. If the wind is
blowing them ahead of the
a bubble gun.
Well, similarly, what about taking the silly string canister and having a robot shoot silly string and it catches on a tripwire?
Or I'm thinking of, instead of bubbles, how about fibers? It's blowing fibers ahead that will drape over the wire and make it more visible.
To enhance flow visualization. That's the basic idea. Of course, you can have anything like this.
The only issue is that we would have to be shooting at all times.
You
come up and shoot it and then move.
Right, and then we have a consumable on the robot.
And there is also another issue that in some areas, generally, we cannot pollute the environment.
That's to be
Yes, that is another issue that I heard. How to, is it possible to use chemical substances for demand?
Oh, that's true. I visited the University of Bremen 3 times, 3 different years. And over there, of course, the institute is called UXT. In German, that's like environmental.
Yes,
and they had some work on, of course, they don't want to explode. For the military would use the flare, explode those landmines. But of course, that will destroy the agriculture. Not because of the chemical. So again, you're right.
And I can imagine in Ukraine, after this massive shelling and bombing, also the agricultural field, some fields maybe will be not available for years
Yeah.
due to the
For sure.
poisonous of the chemical explosives. Okay, so I mean, do you have any other observation about the budget review?
Maybe we should, maybe about halfway through to milestone 3, we should do an internal budget review
Yes.
so that we know where everybody is and we can plan with enough time left
Yes.
before the end of milestone 3 to redistribute.
Yes. Okay, so we
So
plan.
let's do a milestone 2.5 budget review.
Yeah, if we had extra money, I think we can probably expand on any idea towards the goal of the project, of course, you know. Tripwire, all this mechanical means and all of this.
Yeah. If we have budget, there's all kinds of things we could try.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good ideas to try.
Okay, and finally, before we go to lunch, because it's almost lunchtime, maybe the younger are hungry.
Eric didn't get breakfast, so I'm sure he's ready.
Are these milestones 12 months or 18 months?
Impressive, yeah.
Sorry?
The length of each milestone, 12 months or 18?
Not exactly. I think, oh dear,
So it says,
I have
remember.
to check in the
maybe
project.
how to extract raw.
Should I see
Yeah.
this one?
That's fine. I mean, yeah, it's pro raw. Yeah, and if we can extract it, that'd be, would it be better for the algorithm? Okay.
Okay. This is the report.
Perform better with less pixels. So if we use the iPhone's 12 megapixels with the raw image, we can.
Okay, here,
Mhm.
the milestone. So this is after the gray box, gray cell, the gray color cell. Is here, here, here. So the next milestone, so this is milestone 2. And now we are going into milestone 3, and the budget review for milestone 3 will be at 32 months.
32, okay.
32 out of 36, right?
So each box is 2 months.
Is 2 months.
Okay, so that's 1 year. It looks like it was 1 year.
Yeah. And now we are around here.
So 6 months from March to September. So September is halfway, at the end of the summer.
Yes, maybe if we can manage to come to United States in June, we can dedicate some time there.
Oh, it'll be perfect because I'll be there.
Yes, great.
You'll already be there, that's right. That's great timing.
Yeah, then I can come to FNM.
In our case, we do not have any budget yet, because our budget ended in January or February. That's a good thing because we spent the budget, but if they don't make the replenishment quickly, we do not have budget, and because the expenditure to go in the United States, we need thousands of euros.
But this way you can spend the money.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
So-
you can come to Jordan, maybe sometime.
No, we have to plan this week.
Yes, yes.
Well, about when we plan to come to Jordan. My idea is to come and to enjoy Jordan, of course, but when you have done to work on your robot, so we can check your status of work and you can contribute. Maybe end of this year. How is the season October, December?
Sometimes it's, it's a bit, it's not that warm. But if you go to the south, I mean, you can have the meetings, let's say in Aqaba. Aqaba, winter time, people from Europe, they come to Aqaba. Yeah.
Or January,
Very well.
February.
Even in January, Aqaba is a very nice place. Of course, Petra is only 120 kilometers north. It's a bit colder, but not as bad. And then Wadi Rum, of course, it's a magnificent place. It's near.
So I think season is always milder than here.
Yeah, I mean, you can have winter tourism, for sure.
Okay.
Winter.
I think there's probably no bad season to visit Petra, right?
Yeah.
There's no bad time to go to Petra.
No, see, in May, sometimes you get sandstorms coming from Egypt. I mean, we had 2 sandstorms so far, but it's over. Now it's been colder than here in Amman.
No kidding.
It's colder. Yeah, I mean, today temperature here is like 29, over there 26.
So which is the height of Amman?
Oh, it's between 100 meters, of course, above sea level, not the dead sea level.
Yeah.
The sea have to go another 400 meters down.
Yeah.
But it's between 800 to 1,000, a little more, 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so we will come
We'll
and
see.
visit
The best time.
in Jordan.
Yeah. Certainly. Good. It's good that you should, that you
And before to have lunch, if you are starving, you can go to have lunch. No?
We're okay.
No.
Another
a good breakfast.
maybe 15 minutes, don't think more. Here, entry. The view. Okay. So in March, 17th of March, we communicated to NATO a change in our project task activity because of the Ukraine war. And so, if you remember, I made some changes in the assignments of project tasks. Our Ukrainian colleagues.
Skip, can you share this for the?
Of course,
Oh,
sorry. I forgot to share. This one.
Yeah.
So I wish to remind that our Ukrainian colleagues will contribute as far as I can, depending on their situation, their personal situation, their institutional situation. Today we have seen the offices are still acceptable, but we don't know yet. So they will send or they will contribute to our work in different ways. For example, Vadim now is working on programming remotely the robot from Ukraine or from everywhere. And this is a possibility that their contribution is very important. Or even, for example, Vadim Plakti, he will work on application of artificial intelligence in a restricted group, maybe made by you and other students that in my team will join in July. So these are kind of the contribution from Ukraine that are not directly involved in experiments outdoor that I think is still critical. Anyhow, after this change, I also put here big boxes saying that some of the tasks are critical because it becomes urgent for the project. And for example, there is one, is task 1.43 and 1.44 that, especially 1.43 now, you see that this task is about the development of a web GUI, you say GUI?
GUI,
Yeah. For operator, so waypoint definition, mission task, and so on. So we need some efforts to do this, and we need somebody that has a professional experience for that. And probably we have under-evaluated at the beginning the efforts needed to do this. So, for example, in our team, we do not have a person that has this experience. And, sorry?
Is the web GUI, is it going to be website based? Do we need to be connected to the internet, or is it simply just going to be an HTML type of just GUI? Because I think we could recruit some guys from I know some people in the comm sci department at our school.
Andrew, you've been working on some of this. I remember you showed a little demo.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an HTML movie, so it's not supposed to run out. I didn't think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because it would get difficult, especially if someone else using it, so it's meant to be like a remote control, just for.
And Joe, you said Joey is working on this.
Yeah, Joey's gonna start in the fall.
Joey
In the summer.
No, he's starting in the summer.
Yeah, Joey could try to work on this GUI, or at least work with you and try to continue that, because he's someone from the comp sci department. I think from the physics department, at the very least, it'd be a little difficult for us to take that approach.
Well, Joey is gonna start on this for part of the summer, and he has expressed interest in doing programming oriented things rather than experimental measurements.
Yeah.
So it's likely a good thing for him to help with.
Do you think he is capable to complete this work, I don't know, in 3-4 months?
I'm not sure. He's working definitely for 5 weeks with us in the summer, and then after that.
I think he was interested in continuing in the fall. Andrew, how far along do you think it is, you know?
I mean, our template's already made, so as far as just connecting to the web itself, that's what like part of this up with. That's kind of where I'm kind of stuck, because the MQTT is like the programming protocol that we're supposed to be using to communicate between the robot. But Ricardo kind of just, I didn't really get a hold of it.
Because Ricardo has evaluated the professional experience needed for that. And he said, I'm sorry, I have no this experience, and for me, it would be nice to learn, but it takes time. While now we have probably already accumulated delay for this task. So my idea was also considering to not only have students, but also hiring professional, paying money.
That might be necessary to get it done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And because there are people who do this every day. Who can probably get it done in a fraction of the time that it would take us.
Yeah.
Would it be helpful, Andrew, do you have something you could display and show at some point this week? Maybe when Pierluigi is available?
Yes, maybe.
So we can see what we have. I don't know if it's in the schedule yet or not, but setting aside 15 minutes.
No.
Yeah, if you could show us, and we can pass that all off to Pierluigi, then somebody in the project will have it.
Or at least we'll have a sense of where things stand.
So I put here a note, a dedicated meeting also with Pierluigi.
Yes. And of course, we can have Joey work on it over the summer, but we might need professional help with that.
Yes.
I think professional help would definitely be helpful, just because
For task
The
drivers meeting session.
integration of the robots, is it language or?
I think it's.
Yes.
So the language of robot is coded.
We wanted to be more on the city software. meaning whether it's in Mac, Linux, or Windows, whatever.
Okay.
Just because we want to be universal as well. We want validation.
And the robot is coded in Linux, if I'm remembering correctly, right?
Well,
Or is it
all
the Linux?
yeah,
And it's all
It's a
Python.
Linux, it's a Linux platform.
Right, and the HTML is the GUI,
Right.
or the HTML aspect of it is GUI.
Right.
So
So right now, the way we control it is clear paths already made.
Yeah, and so all of the, what's it called? Like the ROS.
Yeah.
And then, so, oh wow,
If you want to
yeah.
make
So we would need to develop something completely, like, something new to control the robot essentially, and get all of
this
this.
clear path version, I don't think is enough to what we're trying to accomplish. Because we want to create like break lines and all that kind of stuff and assume like different positions
And
we don't want to be doing that every single time.
yeah, absolutely. So we would have to develop our own program. Yeah, I think professional help with that, yeah. Because because then we would have to do the navigation aspect as well.
Well, so they haven't updated like GUI from ClearPath. I don't know what version you guys are using of the GUI, like the web-based one or whatever you type in. Whatever version, because when I was on with them in the last week, I was at them, they said, oh, you guys are on like an older version. And like I inquired about it, but I wasn't able to get it at that point because I was running out of time. So there is an updated version, like going through like the files. You can see just the layout's different from what we're using. So they possibly have some like more tricks up their sleeve that would make it easier. And then if you want, you can just like, I don't know, like literally just transfer it into like a corner of your GUI if that's possible. And then
So you get a better idea when, like, for example, the iPhone on the front of the robot, right? It takes an image, it takes a picture. Is it plugged into the computer or plugged into the computer of the jackal, right?
It's not right now.
That's one of the things we need to figure out.
Right,
Yeah.
So
how we're gonna do it.
how are you gonna transfer it between and out? Okay.
We have another computer, but I don't know if that's what we start. We could use the same computer and transfer all the information from that. Obviously, like I'm saying, it's all in Python.
And then,
So it might.
That's one of the questions is, do we want to do processing of iPhone and camera data on the robot, or do we want the robot to send it
right,
to the
and
laptop or
does
something else?
does the robot itself, the communication it has with the base station, is it solely GPS based or can it transfer data?
I was
Wi-Fi.
purely,
Purely
well, no, so there's Wi-Fi, but it's purely RTK. So like that's like the GPS that they're using. And so it's like we can use Wi-Fi, but obviously when we're gonna be out in the field, there's not gonna be Wi-Fi. So the pure communication that we have with the laptop is RTK.
So, and then that would mean that the only way we can transfer files from the jackal is a physical connection.
Well, yeah,
Or
physical connection.
physical connection to Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Now,
Well, no, so-
we are transferring file. from
Yes, so we can do
Java
it.
Yes,
to local connection PC.
yes.
Yes, so.
Through Wi-Fi.
The problem, I think the problem is the elaboration of data,
Yeah,
The
the-
type of files that we're trying to, because these images are gonna be very large.
Yes,
very complex,
yes.
Especially with the resolution that we need.
And not only that, but we're actually collecting a live feed, so a live feed is gonna make it even more difficult.
Yeah.
Yes,
We want a live feed so we can continuously see what's going on in front of the jackal, just in case, say, for example, it doesn't pick up a tripwire or it doesn't pick up the terrain difference, so that we ourselves can determine.
Didn't we decide to like stick with a picture every 2 seconds or every 1.5 seconds?
Yeah.
You said-
Yeah.
yeah, right.
you have tried to elaborate the images inside the Jakarta or you only trans.
No.
Because the only files I'm sure that you're dealing with are just the, what's it called? Just like text files, like that's basically, we're just controlling it through Linux and everything. That's all that we can really do as far as like sending files.
Because if we can't find a way for us to transfer files without a physical connection to a laptop, to like the main laptop we're using, then I think we would have to figure out a way to code it on the main computer on the jack.
Or we can add another computer.
Or add another computer, or if we can add even like a chip or something that can communicate wirelessly to the other computer and transfer files.
Luca, how does your robot transfer the HSR images to a computer for processing?
No, we say after now we save only text file on Jackal and then we read by FTP protocol.
With an FTP protocol,
yes.
so we are transferring the
Text file.
the text data file that contain the microwave image information by an FTP protocol.
Yes, by an FTP protocol, but this is a temporary solution. The finally optimized solution is to use JSON messaging system for transfer all parameters, data, and information between all the robots. For this reason, I asked you if you elaborate inside, because it's important to have only text files and small information packet around the network.
Okay. I think this point is really crucial for integrating the structure of data archiving, transferring, and processing.
Yeah, I think
The core of this program is the driver.
Yeah, and so the meeting we plan this week with Luigi will be the opportunity to discuss also the transfer methods, the connections, and the GUI characteristics.
So Luca, when you say the main problem is the driver, the main issue, the driver, does that
Yeah.
mean then that you are not as concerned about data volume and data transfer rates through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Not so much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
It depends on the data size, because in our case, the data size are 100 kilobytes or megabyte, 1 megabyte.
yes.
With the
Okay.
slider.
Because
Right.
how big are the images?
So for each image, it would take probably 40 megabytes.
yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yes, but this is
I'm
And it's not gonna be downgraded to other, like, we're taking raw pictures,
yes.
so it's not gonna be downgraded. Okay, that's
So
good.
we're gonna be transferring
But you
40
can-
megabytes every 1.5 seconds.
You can easily
That's a lot.
use
That might-
the resource.
I really like
more than
Anna's
that.
idea of maybe to build something, a separate processing computer on the robot.
I was gonna say we could use the iPhone as some like communicated method, but is the iPhone gonna be on every single jackal or just ours?
Oh, so you can, you mean you can
That's
store
That's a
data in
good question.
for every.
Especially if we're going to try and build the positioning, there should probably be one on every one.
Because I was gonna say, if we have, we have an iPhone on ours, and the use of it is for the LiDAR, and we're gonna figure out some other ways we can take advantage of that. But if we were to just put an iPhone on each of the jackals solely, so maybe on another jackal that's purely for measurements, the detection of the landmines, we can use it as a communicated method to transfer files. But again, we'd have to read into it more and how we can do that. If we need a SIM card or Wi-Fi connection, what's like the, how complicated big that is. Because with the, what I'm worried is that he's gonna be sending 40 megabyte images every 1.5 seconds. The iPhone is gonna be sending images regarding the LiDAR and potentially other
That's the.
data that needs to be processed and read by the operator.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of data that needs to be transferred every 1.5 seconds, that needs to be updated continuously, essentially.
Yeah.
mean, it would take a little more time for us, I can't do it right now, but more research, more time to get into it, understand what we can do.
I mean, the Raspberry Pi may also
Yeah.
be suitable, but that doesn't have the power. It's iPhone or other small device.
I think another option would be a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Really small computer, really good off.
Yeah, I've worked with an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi before, and they're perfect, they're like, it could be actually really, that's a really good session.
Yeah, they already come equipped with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 3.0, so like they're already, and they run Linux, so they already run the same software.
It might be good, an easy bit interface.
Very easy.
Yeah,
And
and actually,
And you could, in principle, tie your instrument to the
You wouldn't-
Raspberry Pi using a.
you wouldn't, I don't think you would even have to.
Raspberry Pi is tiny.
Yeah.
Incredibly small.
You
It's
might
like
even
the-
have to connect the, you could connect all the sensors and monitors essentially to the Raspberry Pi. Either if it's not directly through a USB, but through some circuit, then it's not hard at all to.
They're also very affordable, so then they're also I think way cheaper and like better as far as doing that instead of using the Jackal software or because then we have to integrate with another software instead of just creating our own. And creating our own is definitely a better option.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best option.
And to your question about whether every robot, I think every robot probably should have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Because to Khaled's point, every one of them needs to know whether they're about to go into a ditch or hit a rock, because particularly the holographic robot number 3 may not follow the same path as others.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just going to be
One thing.
navigating to the targets.
One thing I was worried about is that if we're using the Greek line approach of the robot, it's gonna take the same path essentially every time
Yes,
for each 3 of the robots.
Yeah.
The third one is not.
Well, the third one probably won't, because you're gonna go directly to the identified targets, maybe?
we can decide, we have not decided yet.
But-
Originally, the idea is to program the third robot only on the waypoints communicated by the previous 2.
Yeah.
Scan. But maybe it could be a complication, and maybe we can stay on the same grid path and stop only on the waypoint of the grid path.
Yeah, because I was saying, if, for example, for the first 2 robots, let's just say that kind of map out this Greek path, and then also for the LiDAR detection with using the iPhone, if it's going on the same path, it's going to end up meeting the same obstacles every single time. Essentially,
It follows the same path,
needs
yes.
to be operated
Yeah.
at the same
Yeah.
point. So unless we use the GPS of the iPhone when we detect an obstacle to mark a location and say at this point, when the next robot goes through, you would have to, the operator needs to move it. Unless we do that, I think we would have to use an iPhone every single time to prevent the robot to get stuck or go into an obstacle. If that's clear, I'm sorry. Because if we don't have an iPhone on every single one, we would have to have the main one mark out waypoints of every obstacle that it meets, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So just to summarize again, on the first robot, we will have by sure a LiDAR.
Yeah.
And maybe a camera.
Yeah,
Okay. On robot number 2, Jordan robot, okay, we will have for sure a LiDAR.
Yeah.
And the camera, so an iPhone.
iPhone.
an iPhone, yeah.
Yes, the camera for robot number 2 doesn't need to have the megapixels.
Yes.
So
the
an iPhone can
is
take care of
fine.
both, yeah.
So iPhone, yeah.
And of course, metal detector.
And here, also for us, a LiDAR
Yes,
would be very important to have this. So iPhone also here.
Yeah.
iPhone 12 Pro or more. I've seen also now there is 14.
Yeah.
We don't know.
It'll keep going.
But we have standardized iPhone 12.
Yeah, since you bought iPhone 12, right?
12 Pro, yeah.
12 Pro, then, just have it uniform. Wow.
Yeah.
You can get
iPhone 12 Pro.
Pro.
Yeah.
It's important because the standard iPhone
Right.
12 haven't LiDAR.
Has a light, okay.
Okay.
I'll buy it when I come.
Yeah.
So I go quickly to the end of this, and then we have time for lunch break. So in exchange of the practical and the experimental work for the Ukraine, the Jordan team will devise and produce the robot number 2 with metal detector that provide the main detection. And so the detection will be based only on your robot, and also for some instances for the information we can retrieve from optical. If you have, for example, a surface landmine, we can detect with also optical information that is, of course, important. But the main detection for buried objects will be with the robot number 2 with metal detector. Okay?
Yeah.
This is just to summarize the big changes we agree in March.
Yes, I think that's the new plan.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Thanks.
It's a
Have you
lunchtime.
other comments?
We're
All
good.
right.
Leave this
So, I wish also to show some pictures. Shall we do with a roll up in the garden or here? Maybe in the garden.
In the garden is better.
The light is
to
better.
take pictures.
Yeah, I would like to have a shot, to shot some pictures of the group.
To take them or to show, to take photographs.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the camera, with the.
We should
Okay, now
give the remote people know what's going on now.
Is it,
Hi all. We are now going to have a lunch, but at 2 o'clock, you can connect together when we will go there in the garden.
Yes, yeah. We'll use exactly the same Zoom link, but we'll be out in the garden.
So the Zoom link will be the same.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
is it safe to leave?
We can leave the things here. Let's see. If you wish to leave your bags, I should.
Oh, I see.
No problem.
Okay.